What's up, everyone, and welcome to Aftermath TV. Caroline Schved here, and I'm so happy to be joined by my good friends Jimmy Corderas and Nug. Boys, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying things. I love the fact that I don't have to go shopping anymore because there's nothing left on the shelves. So
right.
Hey,
that's one way. That's the glass half full, Jimmy. I'm
exactly.
proud of you. All right, Nug.
I'm good. I drank half a gallon of hand sanitizer, so I'm feeling great.
Now, how'd that work for you? Did it cure everything?
So far, so good.
Be careful, because I bet some people out there would actually do it.
Well, you're not supposed to?
Don't do
well,
it.
apparently, if you do have intestinal issues, call Mark Henry.
Oh, yes.
That's
well,
what I've heard.
Yeah. Give me a call, Mark. Yeah.
Okay, WWE Elimination Chamber officially in the books. Of course, our favorite part of the show, and I think a lot of Aftermath TV fans' favorite part, are wins and fails.
Yes.
So, Nug, you're going to start us off with your win.
I'm going to start off with a win, and it's going to sound crazy because a cage fighter won a match in a cage.
Yeah.
It's the most logical thing that's happened in WWE in about 3 years, and I'm very excited. I thought Shayna not only looked great,
Yes.
but she was in her element. That's how she came up in fighting, and so it just makes sense that she would mop the floor with everybody.
Jimmy, you go ahead.
No, I totally agree with this. I mean, like, there are going to be people out there who complain about how this match was presented, that there was too much downtime between Shayna eliminating participants and before the next participant were to come out. And you can make that claim, but at the same time, the story here is Shayna Baszler basically looked like a female version of Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
She destroyed everybody, and going into a match against Becky Lynch for the title, you have to look like somebody can beat her. And nobody right now on the roster looks more able to defeat Becky Lynch than Shayna Baszler right now.
I completely agree with you guys, and that's going into my win. I know, like, I don't know what's going on sometimes. I feel like sometimes I'm on different pages with the universe, because I loved Shayna Baszler. I thought exactly what you said, Nug. She went into the cage, she did her job, she's terrifying. She literally ran through everyone she came into contact with, and especially Liv Morgan. Like, what she did to Liv Morgan was insane. And for me, none of that was boring. I am personally entertained by her. I'm rooting for her. And actually, when I watch her in the ring, I'm like, I hope this girl takes out Becky Lynch.
It may have started weirdly with the neck bite thing, but I think we can always point to that and go, that might have been an off night.
Yeah.
That might have been a weird choice to do that. But since then, she's been menacing and just murdering people all the way to WrestleMania.
Now, one thing I noticed online is people were saying this is the worst Elimination Chamber match they've ever seen in the history of Elimination Chamber. Do you guys agree with that?
No, it was just a different presentation of the Elimination Chamber that made, like Nug said, made sense in the story that this is telling right now. That's the problem. Sometimes people get lost with, they want to see action. I compare it to like going to a fireworks display. You know, you go to a fireworks show and people are just going, ooh, ah, but when they leave, what stood out to them? Nothing stood out. This was a moment where at the end of it, you went, oh my goodness, and you remember that, and that's what it is. It's about moments.
So then help me understand why people were saying Shayna Baszler can't wrestle and she's boring. Because for me personally, I don't feel like that alone, and sometimes I feel like I'm on this little island by myself. I am right now.
Well, today
When these people are online saying it's the worst Elimination Chamber they've ever seen, keep in mind they've been watching wrestling long enough to see at least 3 Elimination Chambers. There are a lot more than those. Go back, know your history. No, it's not. Second of all, Shayna can wrestle. She wrestles a different style than everybody else. And if it's slow and methodical, how many times do we hear that Randy Orton's boring? Yeah. And Shayna is a little bit of Randy Orton. She's a little slow, a little methodical, not the most exciting wrestler in the world, but she'll kill you.
I feel one of my tangents coming out.
Please, no. I want to hear it.
It's going to lead into my win.
Okay, so please, go on it, Jimmy.
What people don't get and say that Shayna Baszler can't wrestle, for some reason, the modern wrestling fan today is conditioned to think that spectacular, high-flying, flippity-doos, and I don't want to sound like a different Jim who should be wearing glasses and carrying a tennis racket right now.
Please don't.
But at the same time, that is not what this business is about. It's about creating moments and telling stories in the ring and having people invested in what you do. And that's what Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak did on last Sunday. Was they had a fantastic match, and what they did was they took old school wrestling psychology, brought it to modern day, and told a fantastic story and had a great match. There were a couple of moments there where I kind of went, ooh, that looked a little devastating. But at the same time, the match was awesome, and I thought stole the show.
In that same breath, if Shayna's more old school, is there something she can do to maybe become a little bit more relatable to a newer audience?
Oh, sure. A flip. A flip will do it?
That's so tough, eh? That's so tough when then that's just not your style.
No. So Shayna should do a twisting, burning 450 hammer Phoenix splash.
There you go.
There you go.
I
don't get it.
But it's different styles and different departments of the store. Like, I'm not always going to the store for toilet paper. I'm going to the store for a jug of milk, or I'm going to the store to get socks. Every section is for someone different, and WWE is the variety store. It's the one-stop shop for everything, but not everything is for everybody.
Well, I'm glad that the three of us are in the same department of that store.
We're our own little section of the universe.
It's kind of like before we go on the air here, I like to play my little snippets of music, but it's all over the map. I can go to a Kiss concert and enjoy myself, but I also love the Eagles, and I'm a huge fan of the Beatles. But I could it's variety. I don't limit myself to one style.
No.
You know what I mean?
Okay, back to Gulak and Bryan. Anything else you guys want to say about that?
First of all, this ongoing story over the last few weeks where Drew's like, I can beat him, I know his weaknesses. Daniel Bryan has a match with Heath Slater, beats Heath Slater, but then the next week where they get a rematch and Drew Gulak has talked to Heath Slater does much better. So you see Drew Gulak knows what he's talking about. Maybe not enough to have Heath Slater beat Daniel Bryan, but it's there. Then he gets Curtis Axel in the ring. And these are guys we haven't seen on TV in forever. That they're involved at all is wonderful because these two guys are fantastic wrestlers. And Daniel Bryan having these matches with guys we haven't seen is a great story because Drew is helping them out. And now, after the match, did you see the post-match interview with Daniel Bryan? He's going to ask Drew Gulak to help him.
Right.
I think Daniel Bryan's special. Like, I think back to when I was on a sports team, and it's like you want to play with players. Like, if you know you're a good athlete, you're a good superstar, whatever, but you want to be with a teammate that will make you better. Yes. And I feel like Daniel Bryan's that teammate in the WWE where no matter what he does or what he touches or who he's with, it's gold. And I think that's like his very special quality, and the universe loves him. So I think he's great. Always. I would be very disappointed if something bad came from Daniel Bryan.
100%.
Unlikely. All right, Jimmy, your fail.
My fail, and people are going to be surprised by this. I was really looking forward to the AJ Styles Alistar Black match, and usually stipulations, attitude matches enhance the match. I don't think it enhanced this match at all. I think it actually took away from the match because these are two talented individuals who didn't need this no disqualification stipulation to tell their story in the ring. I thought it hampered them from displaying their best, and a lot of stuff didn't make sense. Like, for example, having the other members of the OC sitting ringside waiting for their opportunity in a no disqualification match to get involved when, if there's no disqualification, why not just jump them from the get-go?
Start right there.
It made no sense. I think they could have had a much better match without any stipulation, just having a straight wrestling match and tell a great story in the ring.
I think going into that match, everybody in that crowd was just waiting for The Undertaker to show up. I don't think anybody cared about the match, not only because we had sort of seen it, but like, we just saw it on Monday, and then we're going to see it again with no disqualification. Well, then you got two of your buddies at ringside. We know they're going to run in. We know The Undertaker's going to come out. We know this is going to WrestleMania. But nobody was paying attention and nobody cared. So to call it no disqualification usually makes people go, ooh, but not this time.
If we know what's coming, what's a way, that things could have happened differently that maybe would have excited everybody in the universe included?
At least a little bit of suspension of anticipation of something happening without guys sitting right there at ringside, ready to pounce. I think that was part of it. If those guys would have been left in the locker room and have them run in somewhere later on at the opportune time, I think it would have been a lot better. But at the same time, again, I don't think that no disqualification stipulation was needed.
You know what? Brainstorming, just thinking about it right now, you really want to change it up, you really want to surprise people, make it a tag match. Aleister Black and The Undertaker against the OC.
There you go.
Make it interesting. Make it interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Nug, I'm interested to hear your fail.
Look, there are some basics in wrestling. You have to hook a leg to get a pin. And if you are using nefarious means, if you're not a nice person, you're going to cheat to get a pin. You're going to hold on to the ropes. You're going to use your feet on the ropes for leverage. Or possibly, you're going to grab a handful of tights. And 2 shows on the same week, Humberto Carrillo lost to a handful of tights. Up your game, buddy. Figure it out. You just got beat twice. with a handful of tights.
Yeah.
How good of a wrestler are you if your gear is preventing you from winning?
Apparently his tights are his kryptonite.
Yeah, he might as well have a handle on the back of them so people can get a hold of him.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's like first time shame on me, second time, or first time shame on you, second time. Wow, I totally messed that up,
man.
It's okay.
First,
we get what you're trying to say.
Either
My
start
brain
wearing
has
a one
stopped
piece so
working.
it can't be grabbed, or block a grab of your tights somehow.
There's something to grab into one piece too, but never mind.
Okay, I'm gonna go to my fail
Sure.
and stop with the sayings because I always mess those up. My fail, guys. The tag team match, which ended up being incredible. Everyone loved it. The WWE Universe was so behind it. It literally felt like it took 20 minutes for each tag team to come out and get to the ring. I felt like I could have walked my dog, made dinner, showered, and got ready for bed by the time the match started. Like, I felt like it was 3 years later, and I know that that's being slightly dramatic, but thankfully, that match was really well done, and every superstar did an incredible job. But it almost made me pull away from the card because I was like, "What's going on? Like, this is taking so long." And don't get me wrong, I love everyone's entrances. I love, the entertainment side of it. That's one of my favorite parts of WWE. But I was like, this needs to be a little faster. Granted, the fact that there's 6 teams that are about to come out, it needed to be, in my opinion, it needs to be quicker.
Yeah, sometimes the theatrics gets overproduced, let's put it that way, and I think that was the case in this one. But at the same time, the match itself, I thought, delivered big time, and maybe you could have flip-flopped the 2 cage matches to try and please both masters, so to speak.
I gotta say, you could have timed those entrances with a sundial. Shout out to my dad for the oldest line. Careful, it's an antique. Yeah. Of 6 teams in the Elimination Chamber, 5 of which we've seen on television lately and 1 quickly thrown in, why not throw in the Revival? Where were they?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
right?
Especially guys who are all fists and no flips.
Yep.
Who were you most impressed with in that match?
Actually, I was impressed with the Lucha.
I was impressed with Heavy Machinery.
Oh,
Heavy
my goodness.
Machinery looked amazing. Tucker going off the pod, everything looked so good. Yeah. Good for them.
Anything else from Elimination Chamber that you guys want to mention very quickly before we head to
Sami
break?
Zayn being Intercontinental Champion.
How awesome, eh?
I don't care how he got it. It's been too long. Let's go,
What was
Sami.
it, since 2015?
Yeah. I was at Montreal. I was at that show in Montreal where he came out and fought, separated his shoulders and fought John Cena. It's so good. Sammy, we love you. Shout out. I don't care how you want it. You want it.
And this is for Carolyn, a Rolling Stone.
Shame on me.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm just gonna forget that one and let it just go over my head. No one remind me of it on Twitter, okay? The time has come to talk about Edge and Randy Orton and how Randy got a taste of his own medicine. Jimmy, by the look on your face, I'm gonna just hand it off to you.
Well, first of all, I love where this was going up until Monday night. For me, not that I'm disappointed seeing Edge come back. I'm disappointed in the manner he came back. I mean, he looked like he was suffering 0 ill effects from that beatdown he took from Orton when it looked like, coming back from a near career-ending injury after 9 years, it looked like he was never going to come back again. He looked a little too fresh to me. And at the same time, if I'm going to attack the guy who attacked my wife, trust me, he's not eating an RKO. He's getting fists of fury. He's getting beaten down. I'm hitting him with everything but the kitchen sink. I'm not hitting him with a wrestling move.
TV mom, you're a lucky lady.
Oh my goodness, it would
Why
be
are you-
on like Donkey Kong.
Why are you waiting to do it in the ring? Do it in the back. When he gets out of his car, you want to murder him that bad? Do it there. It's bananas to me. And he didn't show up. No neck brace, no cast, no harness, no halo, no nothing. He's just fine.
Not even as a ruse. Even if he just showed up with it
To trick him.
To trick Randy Orton into coming out.
So do you think the beatdown was too premature?
Yeah, that too as well. I would have preferred to see them not have any interaction, any contact, at least until Mania. At least until they have their match at WrestleMania or the week before.
If that's happening, I mean, we could see it going that direction. If they're having a match at WrestleMania, don't even go near each other until then.
What would you have liked to see on Monday Night Raw? Would you have even been interested in this storyline?
And what I would have liked to have seen is not Randy Orton come out and try to attack Edge. I would have liked to see Randy Orton come out and antagonize Edge.
Got it.
Push his buttons even further to the point where Randy almost looks cowardice, but at the same time, he's not being a coward. He's just being Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton has beat up people who have had personal connections with Edge. His wife, last week, his friends. And then this week, MVP's the one that pushes Edge over the edge? MVP?
That's the other thing, too.
What personal connection does he have? Bring Christian out.
Yep.
Yes.
There's a personal connection. But why is MVP out there at all?
Do we see that happening? Like, where's this going now? Since Monday.
That's the question now. Where do you go from here? You've already had them have a little bit of physical contact. Now there's that anticipation isn't quite as invested in me, for me anyways, as I would like to see it. I want to see him get his hands on him. And again, that RKO really bothered me. And to the MVP point, I love MVP.
So
He's
do
one of
I.
my favorite people.
But why is he out there?
Yeah, it
Valid
didn't
point.
fit.
Was he lost?
What?
Did he wander out there?
I don't know.
No, you're one of my favorite people with your comments.
Makes me crazy.
Okay, it's story time on Aftermath TV
Oh,
because
boy.
Davey Boy Smith is the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I'm lucky because I get to hear your guys' favorite stories, and it's my favorite time on this show. So everyone sit back, get comfortable, and get ready to listen.
I think when you talk about, and I hate to use this term, when you talk about Davey Boy, one of the most underrated performers in the WWE, he was so good in the ring, you know, first as a tag team with the Dynamite Kid, them two together as the British Bulldogs. It was a fantastic tag team. Even in today's world, they would fit in so perfectly in what we call modern wrestling. But at the same time, Davey, in his singles career, underrated. He is responsible for the biggest crowd ever to attend a wrestling event in the UK because he was that big a star. But one thing people don't know about him, because everybody knows about Owen Hart being the King of Hearts and the King of Ribs. Davey Boy was just as notorious for being a prankster backstage as Owen. The only difference was he would always blame Owen for all the ribs because the famous saying, "It wasn't me, I wasn't there, it was Owen." But he was a funny guy, and in ring, one of the best competitors you will see, very underrated.
Growing up as a fan of wrestling, the British Bulldogs were everybody's favorite tag team. And their rivalry with the Hart Foundation, who was everybody's most hated tag team, was fantastic. And at WrestleMania 2, where they had this huge fight with the Dream Team, the Bulldogs had that huge fight with the Dream Team, and Ozzy in their corner? Ozzy Osbourne was in their corner. It was bananas. It was the main event in Chicago in the middle of WrestleMania 2, because WrestleMania took place in 3 cities and 3 time zones. That match makes such an impression on you as a kid that then the next day you're at school, like, and you're like, let's be a tag team. We're the British Bulldogs, and like you're trying to be these guys. Don't try it at home. Don't try it at home. But then the Bulldog moves into singles and has amazing matches with Bret Hart, has amazing matches with Mr. Perfect, has amazing matches with all these guys, and then goes away for a bit, but then comes back in that weird post-Attitude Era where he's just in jeans and shirtless, short hair. It's so, and he's so good in that role. He was never not one of the best guys in the ring, but always a little under the radar for everybody. But this is well-deserved. He has all the accolades and all the love from the universe. This is a long time coming.
I would have preferred him not in the mom jeans, though.
Oh, true.
Do you guys have any behind-the-scenes stories?
Yeah, none that I could really share publicly, but not only was he a prankster, he was also one of the guys you didn't want to prank.
Okay.
Because pound for pound, and he's a big dude, too. You don't want to mess with him. One of the toughest guys you would ever want to not cross.
Any Matilda stories?
Oh, my goodness, that
boy.
poor dog.
Poor dog. No, I'm
dog.
like,
No, it's just that, it's very hard traveling because, there's the poor dog in the locker room with everybody, and everybody wants to feed the dog, so they're throwing him hot dogs and
Yeah, that dog had a great diet, but not the most balanced diet.
yeah, exactly.
oh my God, they should just hire me to take care of the dogs.
Oh, you would have loved it.
I'll volunteer my time.
You would have loved it.
Okay, guys, we have to move on to Stone Cold, who will appear on Monday Night Raw on March 16th, 3/16.
3/16.
It's crazy because it's going to be Stone Cold Day, but what do you do about Rusev Day? I don't know. You got to pick which one you're celebrating.
Just one
Can
day
you do
off.
that?
Yeah,
Can you take a break from
and
Rusev
then
Day?
April 20th is Matt. What's his name? The bro.
Oh.
It's his day on
Yeah.
April 20th.
Riddle.
Matt Riddle
Yeah,
on
yeah,
April
Matt
20th.
Riddle.
It's his
Okay,
day.
so I guess we'll have to pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly. But it
Everybody
should be
has a
fun.
day. Everybody can have a day.
This is a big day. This is
a
an
big
exciting day.
Anytime
So,
you have a legend like Stone Cold Steve Austin comes back, it's definitely must-see TV. And there's one thing you're going to know, he's going to push. I talked about pushing buttons. Steve can push buttons on anybody and get away with it, too.
I'm going to see Seth Rollins eat a stunner from him and from Owens on that day.
Oh.
It's a prediction.
Is your hamster working endlessly on its wheel?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty easy for it to predict.
My hamster's self-isolating for 14 days.
It's a smart hamster, smart rescue hamster. Two big superstars will be on Smackdown tonight. Jeff Hardy, who we haven't seen since last April due to injury, and Paige, who I love, former Smackdown GM. She's great on the mic. I love her. Who are you guys most excited to see?
Oh, excuse me. For me, it's more of a personal connection, and it's nothing against Paige, but because I have that personal connection with Jeff, I'm really looking forward to him coming back. In a recent interview he did with our former colleague Renee Young, talking about his demons, and he's addressed these, and he's gotten into a better place, and he seems like his mind is in sound, and he looks raring and ready to go, and I'm looking forward to see what's next.
For me, it's Paige. I'm mostly interested in Paige because right now Bailey is boring, and I need some energy injected into the women's division, and if Paige can come out and fire up Bailey and fire up the rest of the women's division, I'm all for it.
Well, that's what the rumor is that she's about to confront Bailey, and who's been claiming, she's the bee's knees right now of the main roster in the women's division. So, well, if there's one person to do it with some spice and sass, I feel like it's Paige.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, Jeff Hardy's great. Oh. And sometimes you need that time to just take care of yourself. Self-care, refresh yourself mentally, because sometimes it's not just physically, it's what your brain and your mind need to do to come back healthier.
Exactly, in this industry too, because it's not only about healing your body, it's about healing your mind as well, because it's the life on the road is taxing
well,
on
then
body.
More of those guys should take some time off.
There you go.
Okay. And on that note, NXT is up next, and we have the North American Championship and tag team titles on the line. What are you guys looking forward to?
Both. I think both tag teams. I like both tag teams. I like Keith Lee a lot. I like Grimes a lot. This is going to be interesting, especially emanating from the Performance Center for the first time ever.
Yeah, and I've heard a rumor that Keith Lee doesn't like ice cream, so I'm going to have to cheer for Grimy in this one.
And I like the Broserweights because Matt Riddle is one of my favorite people.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think one episode we should wear flip-flops in honor of Matt.
Oh, you don't want me wearing flip-flops? Trust me.
I'm fine with that.
No, why not?
No open toes.
Okay, next show we'll wear glasses.
All of
glasses, I'm cool with.
I'm on board.
Okay.
Glasses.
Okay, great. Anthony, we miss you, Aftermath TV fans. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Bye.